All right. Dun, 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 dun. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Untangled, episode 121. Pardon my wet hair. I never ever blow dry it, so it is wet. Welcome. Please say hello where you're from, since this is a live and we do not record it. I don't like doing things that are recorded. It doesn't feel alive to me. It's just my personal preference. So Untangled, this is where we talk about the evolution in human consciousness almost weekly, if I can get myself to show up every week right now. Hi, Amsterdam, Baton Rouge. I am in Northern California. Yay, Yoga Joe, you're outside. I love it. Sweden. Hello, Sweden. Costa Rica. I've never been to Costa Rica. I've always wanted to go. The Netherlands. Hello, Michigan, Denver, London, Livermore, Iceland. Wow. I want to go to Iceland. Wales, Florida, Georgia, Sweden, Stockholm. Hi, Malita. It's good to see you. Concord, California. We're neighbors, Kelly. We are neighbors. Southern Bavaria. Where's Bavaria? Where is Bavaria, Connie? Switzerland. Hi. Mexico, Germany. Hi, I'm so glad you're here, Melanie. Where is it? It's in Germany. Okay. Bavaria is in Germany. Okay. Estonia. Beautiful place. Beautiful. Hi, Josie. It's good to see you. I'm loving connecting with you guys all here on the chat right now. Yay. I had a cartography session a couple weeks ago. Do you guys know what cartography is? Was it cartography? I think it is. Cartography is where like an astrologer comes in and then they tell you like when you were born, like the places. It's super cool. Yeah, it's like oh, thank you, Torsten, for the super chat. I haven't even begun. Thank you. Yay, support. In my bikini in the Lake District of UK. Pretty sure it's freezing cold there, Colette. Good job. Astrocartography is where an astrologer will come in and read your chart, but then they'll take a map of the world. I don't know how they do it, but based on when you were born, like they need the date, the time, and the actual location. No, astrocartography. So then it tells you like where on the planet is best for like, I don't know, creativity and love, and where you like like all the different like where it's like tumultuous or where you're most aligned, things like that. It's really cool. Anyway, Amanda who did my astrocartography chart, she was saying creative places were in for me in the United States, it was Wyoming, which I love Wyoming. And then she said Cuba and Florida Keys. And then, of course, where I've been going for the last year, Kenya. She was like, oh, this is like a death and rebirth in Kenya. I was like literally forgot what she said. I think if some of you guys are astrologers, you might know the word, but like, I don't know, the sign where like, like literally you're dying, like to death. What's the hi Mike, it's good to see you here. Oh man, what's the word? Cryon. Is cryon a thing? I think it was cryon. Yeah. So what is chiron? Yeah. What is chiron, you guys? Not cryon. Chiron. What is it? What is chiron anyways? The wounded healer. Okay. Yeah. So that was in Kenya. I'm actually in Nairobi. The Wounded Warrior. That's Crayola. Yeah. Oh, I gotta look up the Wounded Healer. Does anyone want to quickly tell me what it means? Okay, let's get into what's happening on the planet. Hi, Boston. So I wanted to go over a couple of things in this Untangled. Depends what sign it is in. Oh, I have no idea. Astrology literally confuses me. Like, it's something that I cannot wrap my head around. To this day, I still have no idea what I am other than I know I'm Aquarius. Like, my rising sun is Aquarius. Like, I'm Aquarius. But I cannot remember anything. It's like it doesn't compute. I'm like, astrology does not compute. I don't remember signs. I don't remember what other signs are. I can't absorb it. Like, my system is like, no, you do not absorb, do not do astrology. Dook. It's like, no way. So I've never really followed it or had any call to, like, you know, I don't know, just my system says no. Okay. That is neither here nor there. Let's dive in. So Untangled, for those of you that are brand new or just stumbled across this YouTube video, hopefully it's you stumbled across it. Um, we talk about the evolution in human consciousness. We talk about it every week if I can show up, and we talk about what's going on the planet and how we are evolving in our own consciousness, which is the way in which we are being, the way in which we are seeing, the way in which we are feeling, the way in which we are doing. That is consciousness, awareness. And it shifts every moment of every day. It is constantly, slowly shifting, unbeknownst to you many times, and without you being in control of it, which is not something the human likes to imagine. Like, no, I'm in control of this evolution. You start waking up out of the dream, only to wake up out of another dream, only to wake up out of another dream, eventually saying, I'm going to stop trying to wake up out of a dream and just be in the dream. But as you start realizing that you're waking up out of a dream only to be in the dream, surrender to it, you realize you're not really in control. This whole idea of being in control, the I, me, it starts to die, People talk about ego deaths, but they're still holding on to the I, to the me. Um, and there's something quite miraculous that's going to begin to happen if it hasn't already with you and with this entire planet, which is that, oh my God, I'm not in control. Wait, stop. Stop the presses. And not only am I not in control, but something so much bigger has me. Oh, something so much bigger has you, and one of these things that I've been anyway, welcome to the channel, welcome to Untangled. I also share a lot of my own personal stories. One of the things I've been recognizing more and more, because many of you know that I've been sitting daily, all day, every day with Yeshua, more and more and more. My entire life is changing. My God, I had no idea. But one of the things that I get confronted with a lot, especially in my community and just in general with people, they don't always say, they will ask, well, you wrote a book, The Divine Design, about how this is a matrix, how there's a 12D grid around the earth, and the earth created this experiment, right? And so how does that sit with kind of dropping deeper into just being human and sitting with Yeshua and all of that? And I said, well, it's all the dream. Like, it all gets to be here. It's like, while I'm in this human dream, while I'm playing this character, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna be in it, right? I'm gonna live in this the dream state. You can't get out of the dream state. You can't get out of this matrix. The illusion that you're out of the matrix is um it's the illusion. You never get out until you've passed, and even then, you might not be out of the matrix, the 12th dimensional grid that creates this entire experiment and experience. And so Yeshua is just one part of this dream. The great thing about Yeshua, the great thing about any anything that connects you to God, right? The source of everything is that it pops you out of that matrix while you're still in the matrix. So I stand here playing this character, Lori, knowing that there's this omnipresent essence, this field, this source, God, that's everything. And my role as the pseudo character, Lori thinks that she's Lori, and Lori allows that. Like, what a gift that you get to be a character. Why are we fighting against that? Be the character, enjoy it, play in it, and just realize that there is this omnipresent God essence, whatever you want to call it, source, spirit, oneness, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all really, I mean, every religion points back to the same unified field. And so it's a matter of recognizing more and more in this evolution in human consciousness, not evolution in alien consciousness, not evolution in uh, evolution in human consciousness. We came here to be the human, right? So evolution in human consciousness is recognizing that we are all an aspect of this God essence, and handing it over to that wave of consciousness that's going to take you, the character, through this process, through this journey. And the more that you realize that you're in the journey, you're in the process, you're in the wave of this, that's how it's designed. It's not designed for you to be the one that's the one that's being in charge of everything. There's a layer of awakening or awareness happens that we slowly start to find ourselves in, where it's like, "Hi, ay, 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 ay." We still take action. There's always action, right? There's always action. It's just a surrendered action. So I'm finding myself in this more and more. And it's opening my heart. It's opening me to humanity. The more I let go and let God, the more I surrender to this omnipresent essence, the more I let Yeshua show me how amazing life can be, the more I'm like, I'm all in. I will let go. I am in. Show me more. Let me see more human experiences. Let me see more pain and more suffering so that I can open hearts. Let me feel more pain. Let me feel more, like, bring it, because it's not designed. The human experience is not designed to move you into uh, the depths of darkness where you stay there. It's designed to bring you into darkness so that you can see the light. Like, so, okay, so the last couple of weeks, actually, the last week, let's be real honest, the last week, I've been really freaking good. And you guys know that I always am brutally honest and authentic about what I'm experiencing. I will never say that I feel great if I don't feel great. I will never say that, like, life is good if it's not good. I will never pretend that, like, I am all this love and light if I'm not. I am brutally honest about how I feel and what I'm experiencing, because I think it is a massive disservice when we have all this knowledge and information, but we aren't being human. So I can teach all this knowledge that I have and all this information that I have, and it can just be thrown out like a computer, and you're just reading it and you're taking it in, thinking that I am being or doing what I'm teaching. But it's a whole other level when you are actually being this authentic mess of a human. And it's messy. It is a mess of a show right now. Um, we're in a real tumultuous, turning, churning moment on the planet, and most of us are going through it. And so I absolutely love this series, Untangled, because we get to just sit with the messiness for a moment, and then off we go back into the world of trying to fix and be perfect and figure it all out and be like this person and do this. For this hour, we get to be like, wow, I love this mess. What a gift, because we all get to just show up and say, yeah, it's a mess. What's your mess like? Um, but this past week, You guys know that I've gone through a lot. I got malaria in Africa. I went through massive kind of like real dark places when I was in Kenya. And malaria just took me down a rabbit hole of whatever. I've had like really strange demonic attacks the last couple of months. Um, and I'm always in. I'm like, just bring it. I'm here. My hands are up. I'm always like, show me more, tell me more, give me more. I'm in because I know that whatever I'm experiencing, I get to share and I get to teach. Like, how did I navigate it? What was I shown? What was I taught? Like, what is this all about? So, as much as I find myself sometimes really struggling, I'm also so grateful because I get to share it as a teaching. Anywho, this past week since last Tuesday, I have been high as a kite. Like, I'm telling you, something came inside of me of like, I love everyone. I love everyone. I'm like, I love humanity. I love you. I love me. I'm like in love. Not really in love with, like, there's no partner where I'm like, I'm in love again, like that kind of love. But I am like, something has happened where I just feel so freaking good. And I know not to attach to any of it, right? So I am like very much open to it going away in 2 seconds, in 2 hours, in 2 days. I have no attachment whatsoever to any state of being. That's the number one state of suffering for those that are on the path of awakening, is that they get so attached to these feelings of goodness, like, oh, this feels so good. How long is it going to last? I hope it doesn't go away. That's where suffering begins. Is this notion, this idea, this belief that this state that I feel right now that I'm absolutely loving has to stay. It's you can't live that way right now. You're going to find yourself restrictive, tight, controlled, in control, trying to stay controlled, suffering, pissed off, angry, whatever it is, right? So the natural state of being that we find ourselves in more and more is that flow state, which is like, wow, right now I'm super freaking stoked. Like, I love everything. I'm literally walking into places and I'm like, does everybody else see how much I love them? Can they feel it without me saying anything? Um, and people are responding very differently to me, because I'm responding differently to people. Anyways, I'm loving this. I'm all in for this. Um, like the last couple of days, I've been feeling almost like I'm high on a drug. So when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, well, actually, it wasn't that many years. I take that back. It was like a year that I was like, I did like not good drugs. Um, I dabbled in cocaine for about a year when I was younger. And if you've ever done cocaine, which I do not recommend doing drugs, but some of us partake in it when we're growing up. And if you have ever done cocaine and you know that feeling of like, like you just feel buzzed. Imagine cocaine and ecstasy combined. That's how I've been feeling this past week. It's like what I relate it to is ecstasies with a dash of cocaine. Um, and where like the ecstasy feeling is like, oh my God, I love you. Like I love everything about you. I need you to just know you're incredible. Um, and then that buzz feeling, right? So anyway, I also just want to again just preface, like, there's no attachment to this. I'm not saying to myself like, I'm in 5D now and this is the new earth and the new world and I have arrived. It's like, no, every state is in fluid movement. Every state of being is fluid. Fluidity, it's fluid, it moves. So just as much as we don't want to be in certain states, they are always in movement. So whatever you're in, it's always fluid. That's states of being are fluid. How you feel is fluid. Energy is fluid. Your thoughts are fluid. Your behaviors are fluid. Now you would say, "No, I always think the same thoughts." Well, that's because the same thought just keeps coming and you grab it. I always feel the same emotion. That's because the emotion is coming, it's trying to just move. You grab it and you anchor it, right? So you can grab thought and you can grab behavior and you can grab emotion and anchor it in and keep hold of it. The way that you grab something is you have a big massive judgment around it. Okay? And so the bigger your judgment is around an emotion or around a behavior or around a thought, the larger the judgment is, i.e., this shouldn't be here. I shouldn't feel this. I'm a bad person. Something's wrong with me. I should be healed. Why does this keep coming up? You're grabbing it. That's what a judgment is. It grabs it and then it takes it and holds it. And when you grab it, hold it, judge it, make it wrong, make it bad, compare it to other people, compare it to what other spiritual teachers are telling you that you should feel or think or be or do, you're grabbing your own fluidity, the fluid motion of flow, and you're holding onto it for dear life, trying to control it. And so, in each moment, your practice, the practice of the human evolution, is to let go of trying to control what you're thinking, feeling, or doing. That's why I'm not a big fan of like the Joe Dispenza work because I'm not a big fan of controlling thought. Because I feel like the more that you can recognize that it's simply a thought, the more it moves and there's no need to control it. Right. So, that whole program around controlling thought completely makes sense if you're grabbing a thought and you believe that thought to be true and you're judging it, right? And you're anchoring it in. Then you want to do all those positive thinking Joe Dispenza things. But if you realize that it's just a thought, that it comes and goes, that it's in movement, that it's fluid like water, and you just have to be aware of the thought that you're choosing to believe. You have to be aware of how intense that thought is. It keeps coming, but you begin to practice looking at that thought as something that's fluid. It's moving. Everything moves. Then you don't need to change it because there's another thought that's going to come, just like there's another emotion that's going to come. There's everything is fluid, everything's in movement. Some things feel like they're lasting longer. So, for instance, you may be feeling super depressed and you've been in this state for a while. You're starting to get nervous, you're starting to get scared. Um, all of your practices that you've done in the past 10 years aren't working, right? You're like, oh my God, this is really bad. How do I know this? Because I've been there. I was there for 5 weeks when I came back from Kenya. I was what I would have considered depression, right? But I knew I wasn't depressed and I wasn't going to judge myself or I wasn't judging myself. I wasn't going to beat myself up. And no matter how long it lasted, which was about 5 weeks, I allowed it. I knew that it was in movement. I also was like, well, if this is my new normal, like I've got to be able to be in a somewhat fluid state with this, right? The more I try to fight it or get out of it, make it wrong, the more I'm gonna resist and tighten up, like, if there's a restriction or a "this isn't okay" feeling, and then it just makes it worse. So it's extremely difficult to continue to practice. Thanks, Martin, my friend, for that super chat. It's, um it's a challenging, practice, but it is also the most freeing practice because 5 weeks later, I pop out and I'm like, "What is this?" And I didn't try to get myself to this really expansive, loving, like, state. I didn't try to do any of this. I didn't even practice it. I just allow for what is, and I talk to Yeshua every day and call him in every day, all day. Um And I know that I'm not alone. I know that I am not alone. I know that God is with me now in ways that I never understood before. I know that I'm not in control. And the more I realize that I'm not in control, the better life becomes. Oh, it does. The more I let go of trying to control, the better life starts to be for me. And it's not it's not like I'm in this, like, I've got things I'm navigating, you know? I've got relationship stuff and work stuff and, I've got all that. I'm dealing with the human experience. So it's not like if you were to jump into my life, first of all, you'd be like, "Dude, you live a very boring life." But you would also be like, "Oh, you're navigating this type of relationship. Thank you, love bug, Paula. You're navigating this type of relation thing. You're navigating this. Oh, it's not like it's necessarily easy. Like, oh, it's a walk in the park." But there is something that is energetically happening for so many of us and will continue to happen where the more we allow ourselves to be in that underbelly of shadow or darkness and we trust it, the more we will be popping out into these really beautiful states, super beautiful states. Um, okay, so another thing I wanted to share with you guys is um, uh, can we connect this anxiousness to the eclipse? I don't connect anything anymore to what's happening. Like I don't anymore because um it's not to say that these moments on the planet like the eclipses and it's not to say that they don't hold powerful energy because they absolutely do, but I'm not a big fan anymore of like talking about this is why, like, we're now in this eclipse portal. To me, it feels like I am, um it's external. It's an external focus. It's like, "Oh, this is why it's happening. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that." Instead of just like, none of that matters to me anymore. I don't care what's happening energetically, like, with the eclipses or with solar flare. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is every day, how am I showing up for people? How am I showing up? How am I being a vessel? What am I experiencing? Anything else to me just feels extra. Like, like we could blame the eclipse portal and it gets tons of activity and everybody gets all hyped about it, which I understand, but it's like it's also another sensational in my opinion, it's just another sensationalized kind of story that pulls us into like, "Oh my god, now what's happening? Now what's happening? Now what's happening?" And all that does, in my opinion, is literally pull thank you, Peter, is pulls you out of just trying to just show up and be with and in what is and how you're being with yourself and humanity. We're gonna keep having all of these different, planetary and solar things and moon things. And if you look back, it's like majority of them, at least for myself, it's like, okay, maybe it was because of that, maybe it wasn't. But there's so much distraction now. It's like I just want to be present with what is happening right here with me and with God. Katinka, thank you so much for that super chat. I do. It's too much. And everything is a distraction right now for me. I don't care. I'm literally like, just show me God today. Let me be a vessel for God. Let me be a vessel. Open my heart to humanity. How can I serve? I don't care that I'm in a portal eclipse. Like I don't care. I really don't. I don't care if there's solar flares. I just want to pray for humanity. I want to serve. I want to be kind and compassionate. And if there's a portal, eclipse portal happening, and it's why all these things are happening, okay. Like that's none of my concern anymore. I just am like presence and God, presence and God. And it's changed my world. So I really am starting to see more and more how all of these things are just kind of like they give us a reason for why we're feeling what we're feeling, but it doesn't really help us. Like, I feel like the most empowered place we could possibly be is continuing to get rid of stories. Like, what happens when we get rid of all the stories as to why things are happening? And we just get present with it can be very scary for us to start letting go of all of these external stories about this is why it's happening, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, this is why, then this. And we just get present with this omnipresent essence of source or God that's leading you, and everything else goes away. Then you're like, "Holy," then you start to really feel the magic of it's a whole like, it's magical. It's really magical when we start turning off all those stories about why this is happening and why that's happening. That's why when people start sharing with me all this different disclosure stuff, it's like it doesn't matter to me. Now, I really wanna keep being aware of what's happening on the planet in terms of, what's going on in all the different countries and all of that. That's important because it's human experience. It's what's happening to humanity, but all the other stuff, the sensationalized disclosure things and things like that, it's like it's just distraction to me. They have all the information that they're gonna disclose to you guys. They've had it for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. The powers that be that are behind all of this controlled, narratives, they're gonna drip us what they wanna drip us. There's no information that's coming that they aren't in charge of dripping to us. So it's all just, again, for me personally, pulling us out of our deepest state of sovereignty and empowerment, which is right here, right now with God. Right here, right now with God. God has no story. He has no agenda, or it. Source has no story. Source has no agenda. Source has no programs. It has no sensationalize this or that. It's just, yo, I can change your entire life when you sit with me every day and you turn off everything else that pulls you. Now, if you're watching it, like I watch it, some stuff like I watch one person on YouTube because it's entertaining, but I see it as that. I don't wrap my arm, I don't take it as like, oh my God, you know. Anyway, so I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but what I wanted to share with you guys is about the darkness, right? Going into the dark in order to find the light. So going into the darkest parts of your, the crevices within you that you are probably experiencing more and more. This like seclusion, introversion, um, wanting to be a hermit, that kind of energy, not wanting to be around people, with people. You could say, well, this has been happening for a while, but it might be getting more intense for you, right? Um, where like engaging can be more difficult, whatever. I see that as us going into our own little kind of caves, going into like the darker recesses of the human experience. And when we do that, when we allow for that, instead of judging it and labeling it as depression or whatever we want to call it, I see it as like a beautiful transition. It's, transitioning. And I see it as the fastest way to um, the God that is an aspect of you, right? You're an aspect of God and just this, the light of who you are. You have to be in that dark, dark place in order to really recognize the light. And so I wanted to share the story. When I was in Dublin last weekend, a beautiful community member took me to Newgrange. Has anyone been to Newgrange? Right outside of Dublin. It's like 45 minutes outside of Dublin. Um, and it's called Newgrange. It's this ancient site. And uh, I shared this with my community. Thanks, Kimberly. Thank you so much. And thank you, Marissa. How? When I notice the question, I feel I'm not going anywhere. I want to let go, but my mind keeps asking how. You can't so letting go is not something you do. Like, it's a beingness. So here's how you can practice letting go, okay? Um, when just be aware in your life what you are attached to, right? Like the outcomes that you want. Even the letting go, that can be an outcome, right? I really want to let go. So when you really want something, you can feel it. There's a tightness. There's an anxiousness, or you're attached to it. You want the outcome, right? There's nothing wrong with this. Uh, but how does it feel energetically in your body when you're attached to an outcome? God, I really want this to happen, or I really want to get better. I really want to feel better. I really want this person to hear me. I really want to be able to be healthy, or I really like, what is it that desire is one thing, attachment is another. So the attachment is what we want to pay attention to. It's a feeling state. Attachment feels tight. You can feel it in your body, right? Um, we've got to be aware of that. If you're not aware of what it feels like, the being state of attachment, you won't be able to recognize the being or feeling state of letting go. It'll all be in the mind. And if everything's in the mind, it won't actually be manifest in your beingness. So it'll constantly be a game in the mind. So throughout your days, just pay attention to what you're attached to. Don't judge it, right? Like, well, I want this. It's okay that I have a desire for this. 100% have desire. What does it feel like when you have that desire? Are you grabbing it? Does it need to happen a certain way? And of course it does. So be humble to that. When I was sick with malaria, it was like, I need to be better. I'm attached to that outcome, 100%. Right? Or I need to make more money. I need to make money. I need to pay my bills. I'm attached to that outcome. Okay, great. Awareness. I'm attached to this outcome. Step number one, it's got to happen. Great. How do I make it happen? How do I do that? How do I let go? How do I let go? Right? It's the same thing. The second thing you want to do is, as you become aware of this, what it feels like, then you want to say to yourself in that moment, what does it feel like if that doesn't happen? If I don't make any money, if I don't get better, if I never let go, if I don't know how to let go, like, go to the opposite of that attachment. What if this person never calls me back? What if I never hear back from this person? You want to invite that in for a moment. What if, right? So you're starting to open to the opposite of what your desire is. And when you start to do that, the third step is, right, dropping both. So you start to feel into either situation arising. It takes a lot of practice. So it's not like you say to yourself, I'm just going to let go. I'm just letting go. It doesn't necessarily happen like that. You're like, "Well, how? I don't understand. How do I let go? How do I let go of this?" Right? So it's these little steps in your state of awareness that you practice. Step 1, you have to be aware of what you're attached to. This has to happen. I need to get better, or I need more money, or I need to move. And it's true. Of course you do. Welcome to being human. But do you want to learn how to let go? Okay. Be aware of that attachment and let it be okay. Number 2, what's the opposite of that attachment? What if that happens? Well, it can't happen. Okay. What if it happens? No, this would happen or that would happen. Just be aware of all those stories you tell yourself. And then the third step is, can you kind of step back and see if you can hold both of those experiences happening, like either one. I'll either be really sick during my retreat with malaria or I'll be better. And when you can start practicing that instead of how do I let go, I need to practice letting go because this is basically surrender, right? Or the flow state. They're the same thing. Surrender, letting go, it's the flow state. And you can't do flow state. You can't do let go. You can't do surrendering. It just arises. And so you have to kind of navigate yourself. And then there's more and more, you get tested more and more throughout your day. Something bigger will come in and say, okay, you think that you know how to let go. How about this one? All of this so that we can trust what I call God more and more. So that I can trust that the flow state, which is our natural state of being on an energetic level, is really just God moving us, spirit moving us, source moving us. I mean, nature is always in a state of flow. It never screws up, it never makes a mistake, and it is the expression, experience, and reflection of God. And so too are you, and so too is your life. And the more that we can start remembering this, the more incredible life becomes. But you've got to be able to do this in the darkness as well as the light. You've got to be able to um, start to recognize and open that if I, Lori, or whoever, whatever your name is, if you keep thinking that you're the one that's in control of all this, you're not in the flow state, which then means you're not in your highest expression of connecting with this omnipresent essence of God, which is also an aspect of you. It's real touchy, it's real tricky, it's real triggering for people because you do have to recognize that the little you that thinks it's doing everything eventually has to hand it over. And you're handing it over to this omnipresent essence, this God essence that's around all of us, that's in all of us. But you have to learn how to let go. We, you know, it's mind blowing because we live in this programmed world that says, no, you don't hand it over. You're God. You're in charge. You decide. It's all inside of you. And the problem with that is that you're still controlling it. There's something beyond magical, heart opening, heartbreaking open when you start to say, I'm not in control anymore. Holy cow. There is something bigger that loves me so much, that is an aspect of me, but loves me so much. It wants to show me what's next and how to do this. It's this overwhelming sense of love that starts to come through because you get out of the way. The majority of humanity thinks that they're going to get themselves there. And I truly believe that what Christ consciousness is this awareness, right? This Christed consciousness, which is this energy of uh, this godly energy that's awakening within us, of course, but it requires us the the persona, the human persona has to drop its idea that it's doing it or it's in charge. You think about, I don't know if you guys have ever read Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. It's not a Bible or a scripture, but it's a real profound story of Yeshua and all of the initiations that he went through. And if you read it or listen to it, a majority of the initiations that Jesus went through required him to let go. And they were just deeper initiations of letting go and letting God. So he had to let go in his mind, he had to let go in his body, he had to let go. He had to dissolve, right? And so it was these constant deeper initiations into letting go, and learning how to trust something bigger than the kid, the boy, the teenager, the man that he imagined himself to be, like, or the role he was playing. So that's what we're doing, you know? Yeah, it's the little I. The little I. Soaking in the presence for 30 minutes 2 times a day is like marinating meat in the kitchen. This is how you get the virtue transfer. This is just a pointer. Yes. What's your opinion of the Course in Miracles? I've never read it. No, you're not surrendering it to someone else doing it for you. That's the misconception. So, um, it's like you're surrendering deeper into all is well, right? That's a maybe a different way of saying it. Like when I surrender into my life, I'm not handing it over where it's like take this from me so I don't have to experience it. It's not like that. Take this from me so I don't have to do it or deal with it. Y- You 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 still have to navigate your life. You have to go through the situations you're going through. And that's not to say that miracles aren't going to happen to people because they are. It's not to say that miracles don't happen, which means that quite instantaneously, the anxiety may dissolve, right? Quite instantaneously, the idea of lack dissolves, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that we need to keep putting ourselves in these states of torture and suffering so that we can show that we know how to self heal, right? So, we've punished ourselves enough. We've suffered enough. There can be a point in the human evolution where we say, "All right, help me. I'm good. I'm all right now. Help me, Help me navigate this." Why is that bad, right? However, I don't believe that you just, sit there and say, "Please take this from me," and then you just pray it over and it goes away and then off you go. Like that's not how life is. The human experience is challenging. Thank you, Merlinda. It requires you to make choices, choose patterns, choose behaviors, choose thoughts. Like you can't just have a get out of jail free pass, right? You still have to be take that's what's so crazy and courageous about the human experience is that you are still doing the work. You still have to show up every day. But we are coming to a precipice on the planet where the frequency is increasing to a potential where miracles can be experienced more easily now, and there's nothing wrong with miracles. There's nothing wrong with anxiety dissolving out of the blue. There's nothing wrong with addictions going away out of the blue. There's nothing wrong with peace coming in for no reason out of the blue when you're feeling sad, or like there's no, like we don't have to like be the warriors of like I can do all of this and I will not ask for help. That is disempowering. Like why are we so dead set on doing this on our own? What is that program? What is that about, right? Just getting curious about that. I had to get real curious about that when I started bringing Yeshua into my life more and more. I had to really struggle or, navigate, question why I feel like I have to do this all on my own. It's been a pattern I've had since I was 5 or 6 years old, right? I can do this. I'll figure it out. I am God, so I will do this. And to be able to recognize I don't need to do this on my own. It doesn't make me any less empowered or less enlightened or less aware or less conscious if I say, yo, love some peace right now, you know? Can God, whatever you call God, can you come into to my space, into my room? Can you just be with me? Can you help me through this? There's a difference between attaching to something going away and asking for assistance. So again, if you have this attachment that this needs to go away, take this from me. I don't want this. Just be aware of that. Now, listen, I've seen more miracles with Yeshua than I've ever seen. Like it's mind blowing. Okay. And I don't think there's anything wrong with miracles. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, "Hey, can you take this from me?" and it goes away. Like the human experience is tough enough, man. It is hard, and it's gonna get more and more challenging. So, like, yeah, like help. Let's get some help in here. Why not? And there's this really beautiful thing that I've noticed in myself and in others around me where it's like when you soften into this, it's very difficult for people on the spiritual path to let go and to like hand it over to something, right? Like, hey, can you help me? It's very, very difficult. We don't do it. Very triggering. So I honor that, respect that, appreciate that, totally get it. All I can share is how my life has completely changed by just being like, yo, come on in. Come on in, Yeshua. And anytime I do ask for a miracle, it's more like, uh, it's more of this like, you've got this, you can do this, you're good, This sense of peace comes over me. So it doesn't take away what I'm navigating. I don't get a free pass, but it's this real beautiful peace that comes through. This open-heartedness, this love, this compassion. It just gets stronger and stronger the more faith I have in that. He's not interfering in your experience of learning. I would say that Yeshua has taught me more the past 6 months than anything I've ever done on my own. When I was in the hotel room in Kenya, in Nairobi, and I had malaria, and I had my retreat in 5 days. Um, I was resisting. I was angry. I was fighting against it, right? And the greatest teaching I've gotten thus far probably was when Yeshua came into my hotel room and said, "Can you be okay with with not being better?" And in that moment, I dropped into this deep, deep state of surrender. I embodied this state of surrender, right? And I embodied it. I had to let go. I had to surrender. I had to be okay with now. I had to understand what that meant. Yeshua didn't do it. He didn't take away an experience for me. He gifted me with an incredible awareness that I had to embody. So it's like i- we have to do the work. We have to embody. We have to be present. We have to let go. We have to stop judging. We have to do it. No one can do it for us. No one. You cannot escape the evolution in human consciousness, which is conscious awareness and choice. How do I want to be? You just can't. It doesn't matter how godly you are. It doesn't matter how long you sit in meditation or you call Yeshua in or you go to church or whatever. It doesn't matter. You still have to show up every day and choose how you're going to be and choose what you're going to believe and what you're going to think and how you're going to be in the world. No matter, it's like there's something really interesting happening on the planet in terms of this movement away from the little I and this movement into this um, omnipresent I, this beautiful, conscious, you know, godlike experience, this heart opening, Christed consciousness. And it's all about the little I getting out of the way. So just pay attention to that. Um, anyway, I have 5 minutes and I wanted to talk about Newgrange. Maybe I'll talk about it next week because I don't want to rush through it. Um, it's so powerful. The the experience at Newgrange. It really it was about so Newgrange is this it was it's this ancient site in outside of Dublin, 45 minutes maybe. It's long it's older than the pyramids. I forgot it's as old as a different structure that we have on the planet. If anybody knows what that is. Paula, you were there with us. What was the oldest what how old what it was as old as another structure on the planet. It is so amazing, is it not? So they call it a burial site. It's definitely not a burial site. Um, not a burial site. um, but it's this like rock structure that is has it's like but it has it's like a grassy mound, grassy knoll. Just Google it and you'll see a picture of it right now. New Grange. But it's a rock, it's built by rock, rock on top of rock on top of rock. And it's this it's got a cave inside almost, right? A place where you can go into and inside the cave, inside the rocks, and it's a structure. It's on top of the land, and but it's a mound, right? Um, and there's grass and then dirt and then all these rocks that create the mound. It's kind of wild. And then it's got all these like really ancient rocks around it as a wall. And then it has these like almost like these Stonehenge type rocks that circle it. Really powerful energy. Holy Moses. Powerful, powerful, high frequency energy. Anyway, they let you go into it only for a few minutes, but they let you go in and it you when you and it's really narrow and short. Stonehenge, maybe it's Stonehenge. Um so you're like moving your shoulders to kind of nudge in. And anyway, it's not that far in. You don't walk that far in until you get to the open area. And the open area is small. Like it's a really small enclosed rock structure. We can all stand. It goes up pretty high, but there was probably like 20 of us in a circle, shoulder to shoulder, and that was it. And when you walk in, it's sort of you walk in and then and then it turns. So you can't see. It's not a straight direct path. Um, and they did that so that there wasn't light, so that it would get dark, so so the way they built it, and these rocks were just alive. My god, they were speaking. um Anywho, when I went in, I was all of us that went there, we were just buzzing. The frequency was so high in there. Holy Moses. And I saw all these humans going in there for days upon days, in a deep practice, and a deep practice of connecting to God, God above them and God within them, and that it required all stimulation to be shut off. No stimulation. And so the longest amount of light that would ever shine into that cave was 17 minutes a day. And so the lady that was giving us the tour, she turned off the lights because there were like little lights in there so that we could see. She turned off the lights and showed us what it was like, pitch black when the sun wasn't able to creep into the doorway. Remember, the door is turned. It's the hot walkway is turned. And then she showed what it's like when the sun rises, and how the light comes in through the tunnel and lights up the cave, and then as the sun starts to shift, that light goes away, and so for the majority of the day, there's no light, pitch black. And, what was so fascinating was, 1, these caves, there were 40 or 50 of them in this area and probably many all around the world. They were these like little galactic portals, right? Created by galactic beings for sure. They were access points. They were access points into your own physical godliness, energetic godliness, and access points to the God above, whatever you want to call it, right? And they were learning or practicing how to integrate or embody and activate, keep online that God essence, that light of God. But what was so fascinating is Yeshua would use these all the time. I mean, many masters used these portals. They were literally portals. They weren't just caves, they were portals, right? Powerful portals that sort of accelerated one's awareness into their godliness within the physical body. And I was seeing Yeshua in these portals, and I was seeing other humans in these portals. And what's so fascinating about them is how they had hardly any stimuli. They didn't have social media, they didn't have phones, they didn't have TVs, they didn't have like they had none of that back then 6,000 years ago, right? 5,000 years ago. Of course, 2,000 years ago was Yeshua, but these have been around forever, right? Or for a very long time, thousands of years. So, 5,000 years ago when they were created, they didn't have the stimuli we have now, and they still needed to turn off all stimuli, right? In order to really access that, accelerate the access to that God kind of essence. So I'm saying this because it's beyond fascinating to understand what you and I are doing right now in a world that is so fast, so advanced, so loud, so obnoxious, so much information, so much stimuli, and we're trying to kind of remember or activate this God essence, which is really just a massive heart opening, right? It's just you're becoming open to the world. You're softening. You're becoming more kind and more compassionate, more loving, more allowing. It's the God in you that's kind of popping. But to think that you know we are doing this in the most stimulated environment ever, the loudest, most obnoxiously stimulating, loud, and distracting environment is quite interesting. So just keep that in mind, right? Very any That's why I'm like I don't care what's going on in the world in terms of eclipses and this and that because it's just going to literally continue to distract me. So I keep thinking of New Grange and so I want to just end this by saying to you, if you are cocooning, if you are feeling like there's something wrong with you because you're cocooning, if you are feeling darkness and yuck and heaviness, like you think these people 5,000 years ago that sat in these portals were all feeling just like they had to go deep into their psyches. They had to listen to all the thoughts. I'm sure they played out all the different relationships they were having. I mean, they had to sit in absolute darkness, stillness, and silence in order to be able to be gifted this awareness. It doesn't just come to you like, right? Like we have to be okay with being in that darkness. We have to recognize that the darkness is our friend, that isolation is okay. That whatever you're feeling, what if that's the invitation into your godliness? What if that's the invitation into the heart opening, the openness to life, the kindness, the compassion, the love? What if? What if it's not something that you have to fix? But what if it is the invitation that you're giving yourself because you don't consciously know what's happening or how to do it in a world that is so loud, in a world that is grabbing your every moment, your every attention? Look at this, look at that, pay attention to this, pay attention to that, worry about this, fight about this, figure this out. And meanwhile, there's a part of you that's walking you into that isolation. It's walking you into the quiet. It's walking you into the darkest crevices within you so that you can drop and settle and say, "Wow, I'm okay. I'm okay. I can be in this. I can be here." Because I know that just like in Newgrange, it requires absolute darkness to be able to remember the God that I am inside and around me. And this notion and idea that we have to get out of that, that would be like these people walking into this, consciously choosing to walk into this cave and walk into this portal. All of a sudden it gets dark and they're like, nope, this is not the way. This could not be happening. This is not the right way. I'm out. And it's like, well, that's the gift. Stay. Watch what happens. So stay in what you're, stay meaning let it be okay. Trust. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. If you feel called to ask Yeshua to come in to bring in some peace while you're in that cave, do it. Don't make you wrong. Don't make your situations wrong. Don't compare yourself to other people online or in your world, right? Sometimes we are being gifted with the greatest difficulties and challenges so that we can um, be assisted into how we're actually designed to be on this planet. And if you're being pulled into places that you don't like, that feel dark and heavy, remember Newgrange and remember that it's asking you to let go of trying to be in control of how this works. And that if you call God in, whatever you consider God, call it in more and more. You may not feel so alone. You may recognize, wow, I can let go, meaning I don't have to control everything. And perhaps that's the fastest way into more of this peace and calm and kindness and compassion. So go do some research on Newgrange and take a look at it. And I think it's very fascinating and interesting that they call it a grave site, a burial site, when it's the opposite. You know, it is you are dying to you. It's actually the awakening spot. It's not a burial spot; it's an awakening spot. Totally different. It's the opposite. Everything's inverted on this planet, right? Everything's inverted. Everything. Not everything. A lot of things are inverted. So too is Newgrange. Oh, it's a burial site. Where it's where they put the dead people and it's like, oh, whoa, weird. It's like, no, it's actually a birthing place. It's literally where humans birthed into the light of who they are. Um so anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Um you know, I encourage you, if you're having a hard time, just play in this notion of inviting Yeshua into your life. Again, everything's inverted, and so this notion and idea that you talk about Jesus or you talk about Yeshua and it means dot dot dot, and we are so against it in the spiritual community, and how dare us talk about it, and this means that, it means that. I get triggered. And I encourage you to just, especially if you are in the path of awakening and you are on the spiritual journey, like if you know that everything's inverted, then ask the question about this name, this man, and is this, could this possibly be inverted as well? Right? And the idea that like you can't ask for help or you can't get support, or is that inverted? Like really start questioning the deep programs, our knee-jerk reactions, and play around with inviting him into your space. That's it. Yeshua, come into my room. Yeshua, come into my car. Yeshua, come into my office. Just see what happens. You don't have to go buy the Bible and read the Bible, go to church. Just see what happens if you do that. Throw away all the notions of all the program notions around religion and Catholicism and Christianity, all that. Just see what happens. It might just be life-changing. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next Tuesday for Untangled episode 122, 9 a.m. California time. You guys are great. Thank you for all your support. I love you so much, and be gentle with yourself. See you next week.